Well, good afternoon and welcome to Heart Check. We're just going to check on our hearts a little bit today. How are we feeling? What is weighing on our heart and what is setting our hearts free? I've been thinking a lot about food lately. Food as a healing element. Food as a way to connect to people. Food as a way to explore our bodies and to maybe even think about trauma in our bodies. And as you may know, food is all over the Bible. There are stories of God raining food down from heaven. And even in the Gospels, there is it is so densely packed with stories about food. Jesus' miracles involve food. Jesus turns water into wine. Jesus multiplies loaves and fishes for many thousands. And, I just really think there's something about food and our spiritual lives. It's not necessarily about diet and not necessarily about what specifically we eat, but just more about how we eat it, how we think about food, and the mindfulness of healing ourselves with food. And so I wanted to share one of those food stories today from the Bible. This is John 21, and it's 1 through 13 or so. The story goes that there were 7 disciples who decided they were going to go fishing. Simon Peter was one of them, and they went fishing, and all night long they didn't catch anything. They were out there all night and didn't catch a thing. And then right at daybreak, there was a person standing on the shore. And he said, "Have you caught anything?" They said, "No." And he said, "Try putting your nets in the water on the other side of the boat." And so they did that. And when they did, there were so many fish they could hardly gather in the net. And that's when they saw that the person on the shore was Jesus. And Simon Peter was so excited that he ripped all his clothes off and he jumped in the water and he swam to the shore naked. And the rest of the disciples followed him in the boat. And when they got there, they saw that Jesus had built a fire on the shore and already had fish and already had some bread there that was cooking over the fire. And Jesus said, "Bring over your haul and let's have breakfast together." And I love this idea of Jesus cooking food for his friends. Helping them get what they need and also already having it there for them, cooking. One of my favorite things to do is to cook for other people. And even if I don't eat the food, it is healing for me to put food together into something delicious and serve it to people that I love. I really believe that's a holy act. So today actually I made some rolls, and I did this with my kids. And it was, cooking with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old has some challenges, but the joy of it is that we made something together and then we got to eat it and enjoy it. And there's nothing like sharing a project like cooking with another person. And it's been really hard, I think, during pandemic for me to be without people close to me who I can cook for and cook with. And maybe that's been hard for you too. Additionally, we live in a society that has a very complicated relationship with food. They're always telling us to eat less. They're always telling us to be skinnier, count calories, add up your points. And yet, there is an abundance of food in the world. An abundance of delicious food in the world. In so many ways that food can be healing and joyful. There is enough. There is enough. There is enough, oh, enough and some to share. There is enough. There is enough. There is enough, oh, enough and some to share. Friends, this ministry is made possible by a community at patreon.com. And if you go to patreon.com/Rebecca Stevens Walter, you'll see that community. And I hope that you'll want to be a part of it too, because there we get to talk more about these things. We get to connect. We get to share. And so even if we can't be right next to each other, we can be right with each other. So please join my ministry community over at patreon.com/Rebecca Stevens Walter. Join me tomorrow on IG Live for an interview with the founder of Kingdom Community. It's going to be a really special interview where we are going to learn about starting new worshiping communities. So join me there at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on IG Live. And Sunday, I'll be right back here on YouTube Live for a moment of hope. And that's 3 songs and a brief prayer, just a moment to think about and settle into hope and healing with song and prayer. Until then, I hope you have good food. I hope food does something for your soul. I hope that food does something for your heart. I hope that food heals you and brings you home. Amen.